Hey Jemson, another week is over. Can you move?
Jemson can't come to the phone right now. Please leave a message after the beep.
Really? You're not even on the phone. What do you want me to do?
Don't tell me what to do.
Seriously? Hi everyone, I'm Grattles, and welcome to the Best Start 3. I don't even remember what episode this is, so I'm not even gonna try. So anyway, today we're gonna be doing some drones. Well, I've done drones, but I actually did an episode on it. It was like 10 minutes long. It doesn't take that long, so I was like, yeah, I had some bumping in my microphone again. I realized I think it might be interference with my AC since it is the summer. So I decided that I would come and explain it to you, but the main show is going to be some advanced aluminum over in there. So let me get in here and show you what I did with the drones. Alright, so here we have a drone bringing in supercomputers, and over here we have one that is bringing in AI limiters, and that is to start the first two of our space elevator parts. Figured why not get up and rolling and get it going, so this way they both are 500, so we're making some. It's not bad. And we also needed a drone to bring in some gas, so fuel. The reason being is these guys don't stop at a gas station. They won't refuel at a gas station. It has to be at one point or the other. And so these are going to the factories where the AI limiter and the supercomputers are being made. So basically what you do is you just drop down a drone port, you power it up, you name it, and right here is the name. And then this port is going from here to the factory, and then from the factory, back to here. That's it. So all you have to do is set it up to the factory you're going to and the factory you're coming to. Then you just set up your inputs or outputs. Very simple. These are the outputs, these are the inputs. And at one end, either on the factory or the factory you're coming to, you need fuel coming in. This guy, all he does is bring fuel. And then the fuel goes out to each one of these stations, and that's it. Simple. Very, very simple. But they are a cool way to kind of get back and forth. We're not going long distance. This fuel is probably not the best for long distance, but it does its job. So anyway, let's go over here. We're going to talk about our advanced aluminum. So I picked this spot right here. It was a big, nice area. We need some water. We're going to need some nitrogen gas, which I found over there, and I set up a train station for. And we're going to be building a train station here for Casings and Alclad, the Alclad Sheets. So I'm stuck in here because there is no power, of course. Well, we'll have to walk around. That's fine. So over here, we're going to be making heat sinks, and we're going to be making the cooling systems and the fused modular frames. Both of these take nitrogen gas. This is going to take casings and heavy modular frames. This is going to take the nitrogen gas and the water, and we're also going to need to bring in rubber, which again, I have a truck going over there, and these heat sinks that we're going to be making here. And we're going to bring in copper sheets with a truck as well. So the rubber is going to come in in a truck, and then the Alclad sheets are going to come in on the train. So a lot of moving parts, nothing too crazy, so don't worry. But yeah, that's gonna go. So we're gonna go ahead, and I'm gonna try to set up some of these trains that we need to come in and out, and the truck stops, and I'll be back. Alright, so the first thing I did was the trucks, and reason being is it just was quite easy to finish off this building, and I put in some lights here, and this is collecting the heavy modular frames. This is collecting nothing at the moment, but it will be the advanced the copper sheets for the advanced aluminum, and this one is the rubber. So we got 3 of these. I doubled up the storage to kind of have a nice buffer there, and I just put them in here, and the trucks do stop without a problem. Did our doggo just get hit by a car? Oh no. Are you dead? I think he got hit by a car. I've never seen this before. Wake up! Wake up! Oh my god, I hope he gets up. I'm so sad. That's terrible. Well, I hope it wasn't our doggo. Oh wait, I think this might be our doggo. Are you our doggo? No, that was our doggo. Well, that's sad. Anyway, these guys, this guy right here, hello. He's just dropping off, he's one of the vehicles that drop off fuel. He's using this as some kind of shortcut to turn around. Don't worry, I'm gonna fix that later. So anyway, we got the truck stops in, and I think the next move is to get some kind of train station on top of here to bring those Alclad sheets and the casings, and to bring in our nitrogen gas. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start setting that up, and I'll be back. Alright, so this is sort of what I came up with. I have the Alclad, I always say that wrong. The sheets, the aluminum sheets, and the casings. They're coming through in here. I'm not sure I like the way this lifts up, but I guess it's fine. We might adjust that just a little bit, but should be fine. Anyway, that's coming into here. That's dropping off the sheets and the casings right here and right here. That's looping back out and getting back on that track, so it doesn't have very far to travel. I know it should be longer distance, but I really don't have a place to set up a truck stop. Nitrogen gas. At the moment, we are bringing in 3, which is 1,800. Honestly, we probably only need 1. So we might backtrack on that later on, but I have more than enough, and we're going to need the nitrogen gas later on. So even if I take out 2 of these stations and put in like the 2 dummy stations, the empty ones, and then we'll have them still for nitrogen gas later on, and that train we could reuse. So that will work out quite nicely. So that's all hooked up. Now I kind of need a building around this area because it kind of looks silly and we need to put our machines on top. So let me start figuring out that and I'll be back. Alright, so I started working on the building. It's not quite complete yet, but I just kind of made it square, like always. But I mean, it does what it needs. I think I'm going to add some windows and maybe make our first like real colored building. I think I might do it in some kind of red. I got this coated concrete going on here. Let's see what the red would look like. Yeah, it's like a burgundy. It's a darker red. We are in a shaded area, but if I turn on my flashlight, you could see it a little better. So I think, yeah, I think we're going to go with something like this. And let's see. Let me see what that looks like from the front. So basically, I just squared it off over the top. This side, I could leave a little bit of room. That's fine. Put some glass on the top. Not sure with the machines how practical the glass on the top will be. We'll see how we're going to fill that in. I'm not really sure how many machines I'm going to use yet or anything like that. But yeah, I think I'm going to finish this building at least and get that started. So this way we have some kind of good foundation to start the rest of the building. I don't think we're going to be making a lot of each of those pieces, but something. We'll see how it goes. But see, there's the truck going through, and I love the way it opens and closes the doors. It just looks really cool. So yeah, I will be back. Alright, so this is kind of what I came up with. I like the black, white, and the red. I think it looks really good. In between these stations here, I just put one of these painted beams. Kind of just makes it look nice. And then around the windows here on the top, I put the painted beams. And on the bottom here, it just kind of, I don't know, gives it a nice edge without sticking out too much. Same thing with over here. I didn't do it all the way square, but I did miss the window right here. So basically all I did was, when it turned yellow like that, just came across like that. And it just gives it something, and then I'm going to just go right across the bottom like that. It just kind of frames it out nicely. I like that. And I don't know if I did, oh, I don't think there's a window in between on the other side. So yeah, I did that, and I think it looks cool. I like it. Same thing in here. I did take away 2 of those because each one of these is bringing in 600, which I didn't press unload here. That would help. There we go. Hopefully he unloads now that I switched it over. He should unload. Yes, he is. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I have the buffer here, so that's going to fill up. And I don't think I showed you where the casings are down here. Right here. So I showed you the storage for this, but this is for the casings, and this is for the sheets over here. So that works. Obviously, the buffer system was too high for the nitrogen gas. So yeah, that's getting filled up here. So we're going to be building everything above this. How? I don't know. I think we're only going to do 2 machines for each. So this one will be making about 2.4 fused modular frames. Not a lot, so we're going to, well, 2 machines. So we'll probably do, it'll be almost 5 a minute. This one will be doing 2 of these, so that'll be 12 a minute. And these guys, I think we might do 3 just so we can save some heat sinks too. So yeah, we're gonna put everything in storage. So again, numbers is important, but I don't take stock, like, especially for you guys, if you're new, that's why you're here, and you just want to get through the game. It just gets you through the game, and putting storage definitely helps. So we're going to be figuring out where these guys are going to go. Let's see. So I know the heat sinks have to go into those machines here. Let's grab these blenders. Now I did say that the glass wasn't exactly practical, but I think I might actually keep it. Let's find the center of this glass and what would look good. Let's move you back a little bit there. I think that's pretty centered. That's 1.5. It's close to 1.5. If I move it there, that's definitely better. That's 1.5. Approximately. I am okay with that. That is pretty centered. So I am going to stick one of these blenders down here. I'm going to press H. I think I'll do the same thing here. Make sure it's centered there. That looks centered there. So these guys are going to be doing the cooling systems. And let's grab these guys. And I think we'll center these guys to the buildings too. To the building's glass. H. And let's do the last one. That works there. Alright. So I am definitely okay with this. So these two, they're going to take water. So we're going to have to bring water in. And all 4 take the nitrogen gas, which we have right here. So we're going to have to bring a pipe up and split it between all 4 of these guys. So I'm going to close this up a second. Let's do this. I'm going to go into Q Logistics. It's going to be the Mark II. I got to put it into one of these. So that's going to crisscross. So I don't want it to crisscross. I'm going to put a splitter here. And then I'm going to flip that and do that there. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to do that to the second one. I'm going to take this pipe and go into there. Take this one and go into here. And that is not lined up. So that will not work. There we go. I'm going to paint this white because we are also going to have water coming in. And I'll paint the water one blue. Alright, so let's set up the other side for the nitrogen gas. This one we could do the middle. There's no water coming into this guy, so... Alright, so now we need a way to get the pipe up. So let's see. Where is that going to fall if I bring this vertically into here? I could... Let's put this foundation back. Take this one out. Grab this pipe here. And that's in auto mode. I'm going to go vertical to horizontal. And what we'll do is let's take one of these guys. Turn it to there. I think that's straight above it. And then that is not lined up with that. Yeah, I'd rather have that lined up with that. So, I think it should be right here. This is on the center line there. Let's grab that. Let's come from here. See, I don't like the way it's going through that. Let's put this here a second. Let's take this one. Move that. I think I like that better. Yeah, that looks a lot neater and a lot cleaner. That can go into there now. That can go into there now. And then we can close the floor. And I'm okay with that. I'm just going to paint this guy white. Alright, so now we have to bring in water. One of these waters, I had to make extra plastic right over there. So I used one of the waters for that. Because we had the poly whatever, resin, polyresin, whatever it was. So, these guys are coming in here. Let's open up a section of our floor here. We could duck under here. And then I want to... That's where the casings are coming in. That is where that pipe is. We could possibly bring the water up right... well, we want it closer to the other side because it has nothing to do with this side. So let's come this way. Alright, there's our machines here. Let's come on up this way. And let's see about putting a floor hole. Possibly. Right here. Let's take this and go into there. And let's paint this blue. I'm going to do the same thing. Not that. I want the floor hole. There we go. For this guy. Now, is he over that or is he's clear? Okay. Let's grab that pipe. And there we go. Alright. I'm going to drop down. And I think what we'll do is we'll split these guys. We could either split them up there or we could split them under the floor here. What would be the best? I'm not too sure. Because we also need some things going on. Let's see. Where would this come in? This is possibly there? Not too sure. Let's see. Trying to grab the pipe. There we go. Where does that come? I don't think that's straight. Is it? No, it definitely goes off to the side a little bit. I think this floor hole needs to come there, so let's delete that. Needs to come right there. That is straight. Okay, perfect. Alright, we're gonna do the same thing with this guy. Gotta find... Let's get on the ground here. That looks possibly straight. Let's see. Yep, that is straight. Alright, so now we can put the ceilings back in. Now, because I have a water tower, I do not need to put pumps on this, which is great. I love that I don't need pipes. Pipes. I need pipes. I don't need pumps. Where do I want to bring this in? I think I'm going to bring this in here. You know what? That's not a good one. Actually, I could put that back. What was I doing? Alright, doesn't matter. We're going to grab the one on the end. The reason being is because these might go out to something that way. And I want to make sure I keep it, because this will go to the end here. So let's go and use straight. It is hitting our light a little bit. That's okay. Why doesn't it like that? Is it too close? It might be. Alright, so now we're going to need a junction here. So let's bring these guys down first off. Could probably do a junction there and a junction somewhere. Let's see. Let's put a junction down. It'll make it a little bit easier to kind of visualize where it's going to go. Doesn't like that. Doesn't like that. It doesn't mind that. Wow, that's pretty cool looking. Actually, I don't mind that, but it looks stupid. Sorry, it looks stupid. That looks stupid. I'm just going to bring this down. Let's just do this. We're going to bring this down. We're going to face it towards this guy. We're going to bring this one down and face it towards this guy. And then what we could do is grab... Actually, let's grab this one. And it's going to come in from here. And then what we could do is grab him. Come in that way. And actually, I want that straight, because I don't like the way that looks. So let's go to straight. Much better. Alright, let's paint the blue. Now we could replace the floor. And let's go up. Well, that's a glass. And let's drop in here and go up. Alright. So we got our water, and we do have our nitrogen gas. We're going to need some power, obviously. I do have power somewhere. Alright, I'm going to go look up... I'm going to look for the power. I think it's here. And I will be back. Alright, so we got power coming in, and everybody is turned on, which is nice. We're going to still have to set up for our heat sinks, which these guys will be taking. But we also have to set up for the rubber coming in. And we have to set up for the casings over here and the modular frames. So we do have the inputs in weird spots. But it will work. So this is what I'm thinking. Let's see. Let's go ahead. We're going to need splitters. And these are going to have to come in, say, here. We're going to go up by 3. So it clears those pipes nicely. Now, as you can see over here, that's not going to sit very nicely there. So I'm going to grab this floor here. And with that floor, that third one should sit here pretty nicely. But we're going to have to move it back. Well, actually, we can move it up. We could do that. Now, is that going to come up over the pipe? It is. I don't want it over the pipe. So, we have a problem. Let me think. Because I do want to bring that up and in. These are centered. So these will have to be off-center. So they're either going to have to come to the right or the left. So if the train station is there, these guys are taking in something different. We're going to probably move them over to this side. That's fine because that'll clear the lift. But if I put it here, the lift will interfere with that pipe. what I could do is take this pipe, come in from here, and I do this differently. Let's take that out a second. Let's grab this. Where's our nitrogen coming in here? Here. What if I go like that? This will not be straight. That's fine with me. We could come down like that. Come off to there. And come into there. That gives me these two free. And these two free. Which is perfect. So I kind of knew from the get-go that things were going to have to get replaced. But I wasn't sure where and how. So let's do this and that. That'll be 3. This one will be 6 or 4. I don't want it cutting in too much, but I think that should clear that one. We'll find out in a minute. We'll bring these down. Alright, so I gotta open a hole here. And I gotta open a hole in the floor there. Let's grab a lift. And we'll bring it down. Are we gonna cut into anything? It looks like we're cutting into the train station there. But honestly, I don't mind it too much. That looks like it'll be alright. Yes, it comes into the train station, but it's not interfering at all. Let's come over to here. I can't get out here. I'm stuck. There's the hole there. There we go. Let's bring this one down. And down. So that sets up that. So now, this guy. Ooh. So he's going to be sitting there. That's 2. Which, that's not the right one, but it's fine. This one will be a 3. I think. There. That should work. Let's see. So if I go with this one, and I go straight, that goes up too high. If I go with this one, and I go straight, that goes up too high. So, it's a lot of trial and error. Let's do that. And bring this one to there. This one's gonna have to come down 1, 2, 3. There. And then we'll go from there to there. And nothing clips. That's okay. Then I'm going to need the same thing on this guy. Let me see where that ends up. There. And then we'll come over here. That should line up with that. That lines up with that. And that lines up with that. Alright, I'm okay with all of that. So let's paint these because it'll look a lot better. Yeah, that works. Alright, so we have to go downstairs. We have to grab the heavy modular frames and the casings. So let's pop back down. So which one is this guy? This is the heavy modular frames. That is absolutely perfect. We're going to grab this. And I'm actually going to turn it not there. Gosh darn it. There. We're going to go this way. And then where is the casings? That's going to be on this side. Right over here. That can go that way. Alright, let's grab this. That can go in there. And that can go in there. Perfect. Alrighty. So let's go back upstairs. And we're going to have to do the other side very similar. So let's go back up. We'll grab that and that. And let's just check on these machines. Perfect. They're filling up with the casings nicely. Filling up with the heavy modular frames and the nitrogen. Perfect. Everything's perfect in here. Great. Next, this guy's gonna need rubber. And then we gotta make the heat sinks. So let's go find the rubber. So that is one thing good, is that this is only going to be bringing in the rubber from downstairs. Everything else will be coming in from up here. So before we do the rubber, let's figure out our heat sinks, because those guys are going to need some stuff coming up as well. And we're probably going to use that center piece for it. I'm going to want these pointed this way. The assemblers pretty much take up sorta one of the areas here. Let's see. How far back is that? I don't like that. Okay. So let's come back down here. We're going to have to kind of move the pipes around like we did there. I'm not sure where we're going to go. Probably towards the middle like we did. Well, we went to the side there, but let's see. Alright, so if we go... We could go this way. Will that... Let's, yeah, let's do it. Alright. I think we should be alright to do that there. That's got to get up and over. So we'll do the 3. This pipe right here is a problem, but it's going to be lifted in the air. So, perfect. All right, so now we're going to take that lift. Oh, we didn't paint the lift there. There we go. All right, we're going to take this lift, drop it down. I did not open the floor here. Break. It's fine. Grab that. Drop it down. It is hitting this pipe, and I don't like that. I could either... I don't want to move the pipe. So what I might do is take this. We'll go like this. And we'll take this. We'll put the input here. That will make that better. Drop this way now. Alright, so that's going to need the rubber. Where's the rubber? Right here. Perfect. And then that. Let's take this. We'll come around this way. We'll paint that red. Alright, so we got the rubber coming up. That's not interfering with anything. Close that up. And then let's grab this belt. And then we'll grab this. Alright, so now we got rubber coming in. We need heat sinks, and we're going to need the stuff for the heat sinks. So over here, we're going to need those copper sheets and the aluminum sheets. That we could possibly bring in. We want to bring that back, probably. Not the greatest spot there. This is not a bad spot. But this guy might get in the way. So, let's do this. We can move him over. We're actually going to do this. Alright, that works out nice. Always readjust and it'll work, you know. It's just one of those things that you're better off trying to readjust it than trying to make it anything different. It's just easier. That is going to hit into there. I don't like that. Let me think this through. I'll be back. Alright, so I decided to move this pipe over a little bit and bring that over just like that, and then set these guys up because it just seems more practical to do that. And then come in with the splitter here. Let's see. With this splitter, if I came up and in, I can actually come right to the middle here. And that lines up with that perfectly. Then I could bring this splitter back a little further. Do the same height and bring these splitters back over here. Like so. Which actually these guys don't even need the splitters. Because if we put this guy in, he should be able to come there. The only thing is, he's going to be blocking that. So we might want to come up by, that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then let's take this. That comes through. I don't like that. Alright. That might be the 6th one. That clears it. I like that. Okay. Is that over that guy? I think I dropped it down. Yep. That's a little too high. So what I could do is bring this one up to there. So I'm going to bring this guy up. Hold on. It's a lot of guesswork here. We'll be able to do that. And that. And this one will be able to go across. So this guy, he's got to get moved up. Gotta judge the height. That should be it. Alright. So I'm going to finish these guys up. And we're going to run the stuff from the bottom. I'll be right back. Alright, so let's go ahead down to the bottom and bring in the copper sheets and the aluminum sheets. So let's do that. So let's open up the floor here. Let's grab one of these red lifts. We'll come over to that guy. Drop down. We have this guy in the way. That's alright, we'll move him. I'm gonna drop this in. I'm gonna move this over to the side a little bit. Why are you giving me a hard time? Yeah, that's fine. We could do that. Let's come on up. Then I can drop the next one in. This one might have come down too far. I'm gonna put that back in. Take this one out. Just so I could see a little bit better. Alright, we'll come back down here. Drop in. There we go. Alright, so it's gotta be this one. Yes. And it's gotta be this one. Which is pretty nice because we won't be crossing our lines. No Star Wars going on here. Alright, so this one can just turn that way. This one could just turn this way. Then we could take this belt here. Go to that one. And that is not good. We don't want that. Let's go this way. Let's turn this slightly there. And then that can go like that. I do like that. Let's come up through here. Let's hook up that. Let's come on up here. Let's grab this. We'll paint these guys. There. And then we just got to set up these last two. And then the heat sinks will be being made once I get the electric going. But is that right? I don't know if that's high enough. We'll find out in a moment. It looks okay. There we go. And of course it changes my color, which drives me insane. There we go. Alright, let's paint these red. We definitely need more swatches because, to be honest, we don't have enough swatches for the amount of work we do. And I would love to see new swatches, honestly. I have some power right here. Let's just grab that. And with these, I'm gonna, I do want to come into here, but I don't want to drop down. too far. So with that there, that'll be all right. All right, let's put this back. And then let's daisy train. Daisy train, daisy chain. I've been working with trains too much. All right, let's see what's going on. So I could see the copper sheets here, but they're not coming in here. And that is because I use smart splitters. And that is because when I went into here, I have a programmable splitter, conveyor splitter. So I put the wrong one. That's what I did. So let's press 8. If I press 8, now I can hold control, change those over, hold control, change those over, hold control, hold control. Want to make sure these are all correct. There we are. So control definitely works nicely. I'm just making sure, because these are all programmables, obviously, or I wouldn't be able to change it. See? So now everybody is going in properly, and we should be making heat sinks. We are. Last but not least, I say that and I feel, why? Because now I changed everything. All the colors changed. It's fine. It's fine. I will fix all the coloring. Alright, everything looks good. Alright, so we have to merge all of these. Now, we could come right down this middle again. Come up, and I think that'll work. So let's come over to here. We're going to merge these guys right in the center here. So we're going to go up to this guy. That's the spot I want to be. Alright. And I need to change that to a merger. So let's go into 8. E, E, E. That's the merger. That's where we're going to go. We're going to lift these guys to there. There. Let's come on this side. The one on the end is too high, obviously. Is that right? Or is that right? That's right. That should be right, and that is wrong. Let's grab you. I think you're right now. Let's grab that merger. That can go that way. That can go that way. That one, I want pointed that way. And that way. Alright, let's paint these up. Hopefully they're the right height. If not, we'll have to do it all over again, which would be annoying. Alright. Let's grab the colored belt, so we already have it red. Did this go out the wrong way? Why is that? Why is that crooked like that? Because that's too low. Alright, let's try that again. Because for some reason, the height of this one, I just can't get. There we go, let's try that. That is correct. That is not. These might be correct. I might have went up too high with the last ones. I think I did. Why? If I go to default, it might be too close. That one definitely bends down, so we're gonna have to bring these down just a tad. So with that belt there, I could definitely see it a little bit better. I think I can see it a little bit better. Let's see. Oh, that's still too high. That's where I want to be. It always seemed too short to me when I went there. I always wanted to go one higher. I don't know why. Alright, let's paint them now. That's perfect. Alright, so now these guys have to go into here. I have a ton of heat sinks now. There we go. I'm just going to throw in there because I want to get rid of them. I want to get to that height again, and since I am really doing a terrible job, we're going to want to come there, I think. I think. Eyeballing it is not always the best. And then we're going to need a splitter. So let's find the right spot. That would be the right spot for that. Let's come on over to this guy and do this. That dips. So that has to come up one. Told you eyeballing it is not perfect. It's fine. I don't know if that's going to be low. No, that looks like it might be alright. Let's see. We're going to split that off into here. That looks good. And there. Woo! That was a lot of work. We have one thing left to do. Well, that's a lie. I need to make storage for the heat sinks. So I'm going to have to split that off again. I'm going to have to make storage for the cooling systems and the fused modular frames. I also have to put a building around this. So I just want to go in my train station. I could get rid of these guys now. I want to go in the train station. I want to make sure I filled up all the floors that I moved. I want to check out, make sure nothing's bothering with the train. This guy, these two just came into the train. I'm okay with that. I'm not worried about it. I could move them over if it really bothered me, which I may do later on, just because if I could keep everything sort of down the middle or close to the middle, I think that might look better down in the train station. Because if we come down in here, everything's quite, like all the lifts are right down the middle here. And I really do like that. Another thing is I may bring the water up and split the water up here and have just one pipe going right down the center. It just makes everything in the train station look a little bit neater and cleaner. So I would have a pipe, that pipe bends out. I don't like that. So I might do a little bit of cleanup work and yeah, and get some of these belts a little bit straight. But otherwise, these guys are working flawless. There's nothing clipping, which is nice. You'd never want to have clipping as much as possible. So yeah, I think that looks pretty neat, pretty clean. I think everything is working quite nicely. Alright, so I'll be back. Alright, so I finished the building. Took a little while. I got everything outputted. I fixed all the stuff that was kind of not like I'd going through the train station. I honestly didn't like it. It wasn't a big deal, but all these are now centered and the water pipe is now centered and split on top. So it all kind of goes right down this line here, except for this guy, which is the output for, let's drop down in here really quick. Oh, that's not the output. That's the input for that guy. Let me do that quick. There we go. So we all have, where is it? Over here, the cooling systems. They're going to a dimensional depot. Our heat sinks, which are in here. And we have a double container on here. Again, going to dimensional depot. And then our fused modular frames. And they're going to the dimensional depot. So all that is kind of uniform. I do want to fix this. This should all be, well, down here it really doesn't matter. You don't see it, but I notice it. And you could tell that that is not the plastic. So we're going to get the coated one here first and fix that up. Because I do want this to be nice and uniform. I got this far, right? So now we can paint it black again. There we go. That's much better. So anyway, let me go back up so I could show you the rest of the build. So we'll go out one of our doors here. I did put an elevator here, which works quite nicely. This just takes us into the train station instead of going outside to get in, which is fine. I do want to paint that as well. There we go. And I don't like the way these sit. I'm gonna have to get some of these, probably these guys. This would be fine. I think we could use those on the corners here, just like that. And Let's get this right. There we go. So it doesn't look like it's going to fall in on us. And we'll go upstairs. And I put some doors and catwalks on here. Let's go inside. This, I just used all these nice reinforced windows. I like the way they look. Came down and actually left the tops of these. So one of my subscribers, who is also become one of my good friends and Discord guys, I was kind of doing this in our Discord, and he said put the roof through it and let the caps come out and then put some piping on top. And so I did that, and I think it looks really good. It looks like, you know, the pipes are going somewhere, and we use some of these vent caps right here, which are super nice. And yeah, just having these guys sticking out, you could see if they're on, and I really am happy with it. But let's head back to the hub, see what we can unlock, see what space elevator parts I'm gonna have to start making next, which I think we're pretty much at the end of the road of tier 8. So let's go to the hub and check out what we got. Okie dokie, here we are at the hub. We can select this. We are now getting fused modular frames, supercomputers, and these pipes. So let's go here and grab those things. Let's go into particle accelerators. This is the particle enrichment. We'll get particle you know what I'm saying, to get these pressure conversion cubes. That's the next thing we're gonna have to work on the next episode. We'll get packaged nitric acid. Yeah, we're gonna be working on nuclear pasta. This is gonna be quite interesting. So when that guy comes back, well, actually, no. Excuse me. We need to work on turbo motors next. Then we'll be working on particle accelerators. So we don't even need to open this milestone yet. Alright, so now that we shipped that off, the next episode is going to be turbo motors and setting up our thermal propulsion rockets. We get Mark III miners, which is going to be amazing. And yeah, we're going to be doing quite a lot of stuff. The episode after that, I'm sure we'll be doing the particle accelerators, which gives us the pressure conversion cubes and the nuclear pasta. So anyway, if you like my content and you want to see more, like, subscribe, comment, share, do all those good things. I do have memberships, 99 cents and $2.99. And with the $2.99, you'll get a shout out after every episode. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.